Is Ethereum cheap right now? I do not pretend to have the answer, but I've got interesting data that you probably haven't seen yet. Let's have a look at Ethereum dominance. How much of all of crypto is in Ethereum? Let's have a look at Ethereum's adjusted dominance, looking just at ETH relative to all the volatile altcoins. Let's adjust even further and remove all of the stable coins from that equation. In essence, if we ignore these highly correlated ups and downs within crypto and we just look at Ethereum's importance within the crypto space, where are we currently at? This is the chart that most people look at. Ethereum in US dollars on a regular linear scale. Some people make the adjustment and look at this on a logarithmic scale. So now the differences in percentage is a constant. So for example, this 1500% has the same height as this 1500%. So on a logarithmic scale, we don't look at dollar gains, we look at relative gain. Now here is another relatively common chart. This is now Ethereum divided by Bitcoin. So how is the second largest cryptocurrency valued versus the largest one? When Bitcoin went down in 2018, right? The crypto winter of 2018, Ethereum had to bleed even more. What happened during this crash of Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, where it lost 86% in 2018. The crypto winter happened. Bitcoin lost 84%, and even during the recovery months after we've seen the bottom. So at the beginning of 2019, when Bitcoin came back, people still didn't believe in Ethereum and we got another leg down. So ETH lost in two fronts here. First, it lost more than Bitcoin when everybody wanted to get their money out. It then also lost more as Bitcoin recovered because people want to get into the safe investment first before increasing risk exposure in a recovering market. Now, as the bull run for crypto heated up in 2020, Ethereum was able to gain from that. But now, again, we rather see negative momentum. So where is this coming from? Obviously, Bitcoin is benefiting from the ETF approvals or the anticipation thereof, but also simply from a TA perspective. We had already been very, very high historically speaking. And again, from a TA perspective, now we see somewhat of a support. Now I've got various dominance charts that I want to show you. This is Ethereum dominance. This is Ethereum dominance without the stable coins. And this is Ethereum dominance without the stable coins, only within the altcoin market. Now let me first show you how this is all calculated so it's easy to follow. So we've got the entire crypto market. That's this pie over here. And currently a little bit more than 50% is in Bitcoin. So that's over here. 17% roughly is currently in ETH. Another 8% roughly is in stablecoins. And all the rest is altcoins. That's the current split up in the market. This video is sponsored by the premium membership. I never take any money from any crypto project. I never take any affiliate links from centralized exchanges. I never pump and dump coins. Instead, I offer valuable tutorials in the premium membership. Feel free to check it out. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to compare those different pieces of the pie. We're going to look at Ethereum relative to all of crypto, but we're also going to look at Ethereum relative to the altcoin market plus stablecoin market and relative to just the altcoin market. So when we're looking at Ethereum dominance, we are considering what is the size of this piece within the overall pie, okay? How large is Ethereum relative to everything else? So that's measure number one. And this used to be in its peak at 26%, and in its bottom at 7%. And again, now we are at 17% and we do have our supports, a very strong support at 15. So one might argue we either could turn around instantly and Ethereum could make another rally, maybe fueled by more ETF applications. Alternatively, it could go down to the same degree and we'd see a depression relative to summer of last year. Let's now ignore the stable coins from all of this because the stable coins are not really active investment, right? So why does it really matter how big the stable coins are in all of this? Let's simply just compare Ethereum in the overall crypto space without stable. So what we are now looking at is the size of this piece of the pie relative, not to the entire pie, but only relative to Bitcoin plus altcoins. We are ignoring the stable coins from this. And here we go. That's that chart. And here it appears as if our support is much, much closer. There doesn't seem to be a risk that's equal in size to the downside. relative to the potential upside. Isn't that interesting? If Ethereum was to further fall, relatively speaking, in the rest of the market, it would go down to levels we haven't seen in the last 2.5 years roughly. Now, would a historical low be justified? I let you be the judge. Let's look at the next chart. This time we look at Ethereum relative to the rest of the altcoin market. So we ignore Bitcoin and we ignore the stablecoin market cap and we treat Ethereum simply just as another altcoin, which kind of makes sense because there's a very, very high correlation between Ethereum and the altcoins. It's higher than the correlation between Bitcoin and the altcoin. So on our pie chart, this looks like the following. We are measuring the size, again, of this piece of the pie, and we are comparing this simply just to the altcoins. No stable coins, no Bitcoin. Here we go. That's that chart. Ethereum tends to grow larger as a fraction of the overall altcoin market. It used to be half the size of the altcoin market. Now it's 80% of the altcoin market, and it used to be larger than the altcoin market. 1.12 times larger, or simply 12% larger, right? Now this chart would imply that currently Ethereum is very, very cheap relative to the altcoins, and that the altcoins have had a rally that might stop at least in the short term. This underperformance here since June of this year, it's an expression of the altcoins outperforming Ethereum. But that's a correction in an overall upwards trend for ETH. Isn't that interesting? Would you have expected that Ethereum long-term outperformed the altcoin? Now, what do we learn from all of this? I learned from those charts that Ethereum historically seems to be pretty cheap. It seems to have a relatively low price, and it seems to also be appreciating versus the altcoins over a very, very long time frame. That doesn't mean you can't pick individual altcoins that still outperform ETH, of course, but as an aggregate, right? If you've got a diversified portfolio of 20, 30 altcoins, it's very likely that that portfolio is not going to do better than simply just holding Ethereum, especially now that the altcoins have outperformed in the last few months. Nobody can predict the future. I don't have a crystal ball either. I simply just present more data for your decision-making process. If you're first time here, feel free to subscribe. And if you appreciate this, give this a like as well. It will help the channel grow. There's also a free Telegram. Link is down below.